So, welcome to the next edition of the Rare Business Podcast. With me today, I have Wendy Lea, CEO of Get Satisfaction. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, how are you, Adrian?
I'm very well, thank you. So, Wendy, for the benefit of myself and also our readers and listeners, tell us a bit about you and tell us a bit about Get Satisfaction and the work that you do.
Okay, let's start with me.
Okay.
I am thrilled and in love with my role at Get Satisfaction, and I've been here for 3.5 years. So that's kind of the work of me. The personal of me, I am from Mississippi, the Deep South, born and raised there, and I've had the good fortune to live around the world and learn while I'm living around the world a lot about relationships
Okay.
between people and between businesses from a partnership side. So the theme in my professional and personal life always comes down to how individuals and organizations develop relationships that matter and that bring benefit for the long term.
Fantastic. And so, how does Get Satisfaction fit into that? Well, I mean, what is it that gets? I mean, I know about Get Satisfaction. I understand what you do, but it'd be useful to hear it from yourself. What is
Sure.
it that you do that Get Satisfaction
Sure.
does?
So we are a customer engagement platform that allows companies of any size, from merchants on High Street all the way to the largest companies in the world like Procter & Gamble and Walmart, to build connections with their customers wherever they are online.
Okay.
And that connection can be on a fan page, on a Twitter brand profile page, on any page of the website. But as we all know, customers are wherever they want to be using any device they choose. And so I think in these times, Get Satisfaction uniquely helps companies be with their customers wherever they are. And from there, relationships can be developed. And it's those relationships that we care the most about. And the reason they're so interesting these days is because customers, consumers, have natural affinities now to share their thoughts, ideas, feedback, ask questions around products and services they have passion about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whereas before, companies had to reach out to customers and say, would you fill out this survey? Would you complete this opinion box? And give me that feedback. And you'd have to reach out to them from inside the company out to where they are, hoping that you could find enough of them to get a statistically valid sample, right?
Sure.
That's no longer the case because conversations are happening everywhere all the time. And the essence of that is because as human beings, you and I are open to sharing very specific thoughts and feelings about products we use and services we like and
Absolutely.
brands that we affiliate with. So it's a time like we've never seen before in business because those consumers and customers are having these conversations that are rich with insights.
I mean, I agree with you, but do you think there's also an element that's driving a bit of the adoption of social media, particularly when it comes to engagement and customers engaging with firms and telling them what they think? Is there part of that to do with their frustration about some of the more traditional methods of trying to reach a company? Like, for example, trying to get through to a call center to speak to a person, as it were, and that actually they butt up against walls or an IVR system, and then they go, well, actually, I can just do something over here, which seems a bit more tailored to me and how I do it because I'm a bit frustrated with what's happening on the phone or with your IVR or your web forms or whatever it might be. Do you think that might be the case as well?
Well, there's a chicken egg story here, right? Like what comes first?
Yes, indeed.
And no, there is.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
so part of me, the traditional CRM executive in me, right, can look at an inside out system, a set of applications, a set of processes, right, front end, back end. You could say, well, we've created a multi-channel environment so all of our customers can get to us however they want. They can call us, they can email us, and we're here for them. And so part of me says, well, yeah, maybe we just kind of overdid that and like overcomplicated something that really needs to just be more human.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm from the South, so it would be me who would be saying, can you just talk to me straight? Can you just be you? And could
Excellent.
you just say if you screwed up? And could you not make it so flippin' hard for me to get to a real person or at least get some kind of feedback in words that I understand? Because, as you know, Get Satisfaction, we're in an epic battle with those companies who choose to use jargon
Yeah.
in emails and on their phone systems. It's like, please, we don't need 22,000 words to just say we're sorry,
No.
right? So I really think it's a little of both.
Okay.
And I hate to always play the middle of the fence, but it is. There is a movement that's people-based that Doc Searle talked about in Clue Train Manifesto a decade ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let me just say, we owe him a lot of credit. And for all the folks that read that piece of work and poo-pooed it or thought, oh, that will never happen, welcome to it happening. So a lot of this is because we have a natural desire to express ourselves, and the fact that there are platforms and technologies and tools that support that, like a digital think notebook like you do,
Yeah.
right? I mean, come on. So those of us that are inspired and need to express and be heard, we've got everything we need to do that with, right? So why not? And so there's that convergence. There's the people of it, the people expressing and sharing of it, and then there is the companies. But here's the problem. I mean, look at it. All of these companies, small and large, they've got some kind of tools to manage customer relationships, but they're not outside-in tools. They're inside-out tools.
Yes, indeed.
Right? And so now we've got this really a beautiful collision. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's elegantly disruptive.
Oh, I
And
like
by the
that.
way,
I like that.
that's why I fell in love with Get Satisfaction. I fell in love with it because I said, look, if there ever was a time for two opposing planets, if you will, to come together, it is now. And maybe through open, transparent, human connection, then trust will really arise in ways that we've never known possible. Then we all benefit.
I think that's absolutely right, and I think it's interesting what you say when you talk about companies having to relearn or learn a way of business that's more human, that's more natural, rather than something that's very mechanized or very industrial, but actually to do something which actually engages with people, because businesses are run by people, and we have and we want to engage with people, so we have to actually relearn how to engage with ourselves.
That's right.
So what's interesting though is that it seems to me that the challenge how things are manifesting themselves, and I think you're right in the heart of this, is that people are lauding sort of customer service and a business's ability to deliver great services as being a leading competitive advantage these days. I mean, it's for me that would seem self-evident that treat your customers well and they'll keep coming back and they'll talk about you and everything else. But that still seems quite hard for people to get their heads around.
Well, but I think it goes back to your earlier point. I think it's gonna. This is gonna sound funny. It's unnaturally hard. Because
Yes.
I think the human condition, basically, we do want to help each other.
Yeah.
I don't think that people are sitting in call centers or on the other end of any system and thinking and not wanting to help. I think what has happened over the years is that we have put in too much, perhaps, business process and technology that has built up a barrier against the human way and the natural way. But I mean, and because you've got so much invested in that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much invested in it
Yeah.
that we want. It's funny. It's like you see a lot of companies wanting more features to make that which they've invested in even more complicated.
Sure.
You're like, really? Right? You want to automate more, that which isn't working anyway? And when I say isn't working, what I mean is void or at least thin relative to the human connection.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I think that these systems, there's nothing bad about them. I've sold them for years. It's not like they're bad. It's just there's a lot of process and that there's a lot of over-engineered systems that in these times just need to be opened up a little bit. But there's also a problem with the openness. Let's think about it. I mean, you know this as well as I do. Some companies are very afraid of that.
Oh, indeed.
Right? They don't want. There are companies that are very fearful. Oh, my competitors will see that. Or I don't want anything bad roaming around in the social web. I'm like, well, of course you don't. I don't either. Who does? What business owner wants anything negative ever out about them? Or what? I don't want my competitors to know all the secret things we're doing. But the truth of the matter is these are different times. And those things are going to be said anyway. And I would appreciate at least knowing that they have been said so I can choose how I respond.
I think
sometimes I won't, or I may be, like you saw this morning, our Apple CEO.
Yeah.
He said, look, the Maps thing was crap.
Yes.
Sorry.
Indeed. It's a very human response. We went, yeah, that was a little bit too early and it was rubbish.
But think about that. Think about that. He just said, it was crap. It was rubbish. It doesn't work. We're sorry. Now, come on.
And actually, I tell you what, I bet their brand equity grew in that moment.
I think so. And look, we do terrible, goofy things all the time.
We're human, right?
We don't respond fast enough. We've got too many bugs that we haven't fixed. We don't, develop the ideas as well as we even tell others they should. So sometimes we look like the cobbler children with no shoes, right? I mean, but the truth is, we all do.
Yeah.
And I think we have to lead the way. Those of us that have been part of customer relationship management in any form or fashion, from a services standpoint, all the way through a technology and back again to change management. We owe it to our audiences, you do and I do, to help develop more transparency, more tolerance, so trust is a more natural part of what we're doing. And when that happens, all the systems that we have used, will acquire, will just get better. Right? Because then we won't be hiding behind them. I don't want to be the wizard behind the curtain. I want the curtain open, and I want you to see who's here, and I want you to know that she is here to help. And sometimes, to be honest, I don't know how. And I can't solve the problem fast enough, right? And so therefore, some of our customers do leave, and it makes me sad.
I think that
But
I think that's true,
I do the best I can,
yeah, and
right?
absolutely, and I think what you're talking about is we are, things have changed, and we are in an evolutionary period when it comes to business and commerce, and the relationships that customers have with businesses, and change doesn't happen in quantum leaps. Change is an iterative thing, and if you look at any sort of evolutionary process, some people get left behind because they don't want to change or they're too frightened to change or whatever. And other people realize that they have to change, but then they realize that the change requires effort and possibly a little bit of discomfort and some pain and a few tears, but a lot of smiles along the way as well. And and I think that's one of the big challenges that seems to me that are facing many companies is this brave new world, and things are changing and changing really really fast, and people are looking for the answer, I think, but I don't think there is an answer right now. It's just changing.
Right, right. And so therein lies a strong need to be flexible,
Yeah,
right? To be, and in our world, startup, social media, we would say agile.
yeah,
We need to be agile, and then we jump from being agile to being collaborative. I think that's a big jump, by the way. And I do find that in these times, companies, consultants, technologists, I think we hijack words,
yeah,
and I think it hurts them. Words like engagement, what does that really mean?
sure,
Words like collaboration, what does that really mean?
yes,
And one of the authors and one of the I don't know, overall leadership principles that I want get satisfaction to espouse is I want to help companies really understand what engagement means.
yeah,
And I don't think engagement is clicking through an ad.
no,
I don't think true engagement necessarily is being part of a contest on the fan page.
yeah,
Now, I think there are stages of involvement that we are trying to connect to with a customer in their own journey,
mm-hmm,
right? And so I think those interactions are important,
yeah,
right? And I do understand deeply because of our own business that there's a half-life associated with social interaction.
yes,
Those interactions are more fleeting than ever,
mm-hmm,
right? So, we as business owners and we as providers to companies that are trying to figure out how to really leverage social so we can improve our service experiences and we can speed up innovation, acquire new customers, retain those we have. I think we have a real responsibility to put a deeper definition on engagement. Because engagement to me has to be lined, LINED, with trust.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I would actually go back to the one of the first things that you said when we talk about engagement, but then you talk about relationships, because I think
Right.
engagement and relationships are very closely tied together. Um,
They are.
and
And
and I think
but,
there's
but
if I was thinking about I have this idea that I think about relationships, and I start with a human relationship, and I think that it's a two-way flow, and it's based on if I use two words to describe the flow, and one is interesting and interested.
yeah,
And I think businesses are still caught up in the idea, many businesses, because that's traditionally what they've tried to do, is to try and continually to be interesting, to try and get people to
yeah,
do stuff, but they haven't quite got the interested bit,
yeah.
and they haven't quite got the idea that the interesting and interested, it flows back and forward depending on time and need and context, etc. And I
Right.
think that if businesses can get their head around that type of thing and what it is to actually build a relationship with somebody, and then think about what does that mean in terms of engagement, then we might start getting a lot more traction.
Right. I think that's beautifully said. I completely support what you said. And again, this goes back to kind of the elegant disruption, the tapestry of sharing and connecting and engaging that we're going through. I mean, even though there's not a silver bullet, there never has been a silver bullet.
Uh-huh.
I do think, though, that there's some pragmatism that can be applied to what we're doing here in this new world of social meets traditional business process. There's some pragmatism here.
Yeah.
And I will get satisfaction to be part of the solution.
Yes.
Not part of the swirly, abstract, more complex chatter about it, right? Because, I too am very triggered intellectually and emotionally by abstract discussion about what's going on. At the end of the day, though, I'm running a business.
Sure.
You're running a business.
Uh-huh.
And so we have to break down these things that are happening so we can get on a track to grow our businesses through the development of relationships with customers online.
Sure.
And so I'll kind of go here for a minute because I want your viewers to know that there are some very basic things that we can do differently and better, or that will matter.
Okay.
And here's a few examples. Okay.
Okay.
This is like really easy stuff.
Cool.
First of all, doesn't matter what size of business that you are, you probably have some presence in the social web. My guess is most businesses have a fan page inside Facebook. Or maybe they have a Pinterest page, but that's not as well known and used for certain industries as a fan page.
Yep.
It costs a business nothing to have a presence in Facebook.
Yep.
Zero. Nothing. Okay. So, yeah, you can get a fancy agency and you can buy Vistor and Buddy Media and have publishing, a publishing platform and contest. You can do all that. But step one is, do you have a presence where there are 1 billion users? And that is Facebook. And it matters not to me if you're a business-to-business company or business-consumer. Put that aside. If you're a business of any sort, a sole proprietor or a venture-backed business or a large company, you should have a presence inside Facebook. Step one.
Uh-huh.
Step two, you also need to have a presence inside Twitter. Twitter is a fabulous communication platform to push content and also to consume content. And you can be a producer or you can be a consumer, but why wouldn't you use Twitter? It's free.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm a business, you better believe step one when it comes to social, and I'm talking the customer part of social, not the internal employee part, right?
Uh-huh.
But the customer part, you're going to have a fan page, and you're going to have a Twitter profile and a Twitter handle. And now Twitter, like Facebook, has a profile page that, it's like another web presence.
Yes.
Right? And now what we know, let's stop here, because what we know is that Facebook is optimized for interaction, and we know that Twitter is optimized for search.
Right.
Right? So if I'm a business of any size, I'm going to have those too. And by the way, I may have Yelp also.
Uh-huh.
Right? I'm not throwing Yelp out as an old-fashioned thing. Yelp has its own presence, and it's more ratings and reviews oriented. But if I'm on High Street, if I'm a merchant, that might be important to me. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I have a presence there. Now, in addition to having a presence in those social systems, you probably have a website. If you don't, I'm sad. Okay?
Okay.
So we know we have a website, and maybe that website also has a blog. right? So let's
Yep.
put that as another piece. But you know, at least you have a website. And so the next question I'm going to say, after you've gotten your presence at no cost set up in Facebook and Twitter and maybe Yelp, then you've got to have your website. Then my next question to all of us who own these businesses, how are those systems, those web presences connected?
Sure.
Because if they're not, you are not optimizing the web.
Sure.
So that's where get satisfaction comes into play. So I'm going to be shameless in this plug.
Well, you've just preempted my question.
Okay, because here's the deal. What we do is help businesses of all sizes bring together all these interactions, which really want to be conversations, which really want to be the essence of a relationship, into one place, right?
Yeah.
So then the internal folks can curate that content, republish it back to these social systems, or bring those insights internally to the product people, to the service people, to the marketing people, to the sales people. So Get Satisfaction is a conversation hub that allows businesses to engage by pulling in all of the social interactions that are happening in all the systems that I just described.
Perfect.
And that's a very important role.
Absolutely.
That allows us to do better relationship development, because it's you know, if you have 22 disparate systems and all of those interactions are fleeting and there's no way to bring them together, you're kind of screwed.
Well,
You're at least not leveraging.
well, absolutely. It's a huge strain on efficiency and productivity.
That's right.
Well, and also consistency across platforms. If you don't have it all in one interface, then there's all sorts of problems that can exist across different platforms.
Yeah, and so that's why we sit in front of and integrate with Zendesk and Service Cloud, and Jira,
Okay.
which is a bug tracking system, and Pivotal Tracker. We connect to those systems because we should. Because certain companies, not all, certain companies want to bring the unstructured data that's user generated into their business systems.
Sure.
They want that. Not all of them do, but some of them do. And so we have to do our job through our APIs to link and integrate to those systems. But the connection to the social web is just as important.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning we have to also reach out through our APIs to those systems as well. And so the more we're integrated to both business process systems and social platform systems, the more value we can bring to consumers and to companies. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, it sounds. I mean, it's a fantastic job that you're doing. But I think what it also does, it seems to me, in very very simple terms, is it helps companies stop worrying about the sort of technology and accessing different systems, and actually just concentrate on the relationship side of things.
I think that's well said. And if there's anything I want us, well, myself as a professional, and us to leave as a legacy, is that relationships do matter. Good relationships make good business. They always have, and they always will. And in these times where we have huge a network of friends, fans, and followers, you know, we have to not forget that the ultimate constellation that we want to create from those audiences are relationships.
Absolutely. So, Wendy, thank you for that. We've talked about all sorts of different things, which has been brilliant. But in the interest of time, because I know that you've got to rush off in a few minutes,
Yes.
Is there anything that you'd like to? Well, you preempted my last question, which was always like, what would you like to shamelessly plug? But you got in there before me, so that's brilliant. And I must say that you're the first person ever to do that. Usually, that's my flourish at the end, and it ends up with a people kind of feel a bit embarrassed, and then they laugh, and then they start plugging away. You didn't stand on ceremony. Maybe that's something to do with your southern character or something. I don't know.
There's nothing else that I would say except a big thank you to you
My
for
pleasure.
giving me and Get Satisfaction an opportunity to express our perspective about how the social web, comes together with traditional CRM systems to bring benefit really to both consumers and customers and companies, again, of all sizes. So, thanks for doing your work because you have a chance to bring unique value to your own customers and your own followers. So we're just happy to be a part of it. And reach out to us anytime. We'd love to have you be a guest blogger on our site. So I'll make sure we make that connection.
Fantastic. That's Wendy. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. What I'll do is I'll get this all edited and linked up and everything else, and let you know when it's about to go live. And I look forward to writing something for your blog. That would be fantastic.
Okay,
And
we'll make that happen.
thank you for your time today. That's been brilliant.
Okay, thanks, sweetheart. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
You too, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.